Hey guys, Brad Scott here with bradscottvisuals.com. Today we're going to be talking about the Sigma art lenses for the Panasonic S1, S1R, and S1H. So these are the L mount from the L mount Alliance. And we're going to do a cool test. So we've got the Sigma Art 14 to 24 DGDN. This is the lens that I purchased for doing both landscape photography and video, as well as real estate photography and video. And it's just a really nice range in focal length for those super wide shots. So 14 millimeter is really great for doing real estate photography and video, where you need to go into, let's say, like a small bedroom or bathroom, where it's really difficult to see the whole entire room with something like a 24 millimeter. That 14 millimeter really helps with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go inside and film the different ranges of focal length. So we're going to do 14 millimeter, 24 millimeter, all with the Sigma 14 to 24. And this is a 2.8. So we're going to keep the aperture at 2.8 throughout the whole range and test on this one. This isn't a super technical test, but we're going to try and keep all of the settings the same. That's why we're moving inside. It's super bright out here. We're in Scottsdale, Arizona right now. So that's the Sigma Art 14 to 24. We're also going to test out the Sigma Art 35 millimeter 1.4. So you'll see that later on. And then the last one we'll be touching on is the Sigma Art 85 millimeter 1.4. So like I said, we're going to do 2.8 for the aperture for all of them, just to keep it all consistent. And you'll see why longer focal lengths like the 85 millimeter are so good for portraits. It's just going to really compress the background and make for a more flattering image. So what we'll do is we're going to shoot just a quick little video inside of each one. We're going to have it all lit the same. Nothing's going to change except for the lens and the positioning of the camera. So we're going to keep my face. I'm going to have Lindsay keep my face in the little square box in the same exact setting. And then it's going to really show you how going from a super wide angle lens to more of a portrait lens like an 85 millimeter totally changes the background, as well as it kind of changes the facial shape when you're shooting any sort of interviews or portraits, anything like that. So let's go ahead and we'll head inside and get to doing some of these tests here. And like I said, this isn't a super technical test, but you will see the difference between all the different ranges. And all of this Sigma art glass is just amazing. Sorry about the plane up above, we're just chilling outside by the pool, but yeah, I've been really happy so far with both the Panasonic S1 and S1R system, as well as the Sigma art lenses. They just have a really nice clean look, nice and sharp throughout the range, and I think it's the way to go for the L mount lenses. So this is the Sigma Art 14 to 24 millimeter f2.8 at 14 millimeter. Notice how the background looks really far away, and I've got kind of a just unnatural look to the shape of my face and head. It's almost like it just kind of squishes it in the center. It's not a really flattering look for any sort of portraits, stuff like that. If I were to get closer to the lens, it would make my face shape even wider instead of more compressed. So it's just a very difficult focal length to work with for portraits or anything like that, but it's great for doing any sort of landscape or interior stuff for real estate. This is 24 millimeter on the 14 to 24. It's a little bit better as far as if you are trying to do any sort of shots of people, but it's still not ideal. I would say that if you're doing any sort of portraits, you want to go with a minimum of 35 millimeter, which is what we're going to get to next. This is the Sigma Art 35 millimeter f1.4. We've got it set for 2.8 just to stay in congruency with the 2.8 on the 14 to 24. As you can see, it has a better look to it. It blurs out the background a little better than the wide angle lens. And 35 millimeter is actually what our eyes, or should I say closest to what our eyes naturally see with our own eyeballs and kind of peripheral vision. So this is a good one for doing any sort of lifestyle shots where maybe the person model is in the background and you want to get a little bit of the landscape in there and a bit of a wider scene, but still have more of a flattering look on the talent. And then we're going to bring it to, here's the 85 millimeter. This is the Sigma Art 85 millimeter f1.4. As you can see, it really compresses the background. You get that nice bokeh in the background. It's all blurred out. And this is at f2.8, so we could go all the way to f1.4 and it'd be just completely blown out and smooth background blur. But this is a good test just to show the difference between how focal length changes the compression of the background as well as the shape of your talent's face. You can see as I'm moving my head sideways back and forth, it just has more of a natural look to something you might see when you're watching a movie like in the theaters. So this is definitely the most cinematic lens as far as if you're shooting talent for interviews, documentaries, things like that. So we saw how all of these different lenses looked throughout the ranges. Let me know in the comments below which is your favorite look. I'm guessing a lot of you are going to go with the 85 millimeter. It just has such a beautiful background. It compresses it, brings it forward. It's really flattering on the face. It's definitely the one you're going to want to stick to when you're shooting any sort of cinematic close-ups, things like that. The 14 to 24 is going to be amazing for doing interior walkthrough videos or just getting those super wide shots. Maybe you're shooting some sort of action sequence in the back of a car, stuff like that. It's really going to stand out and look great. And it's nice to be able to have a full frame Panasonic system finally that allows you to get those really nice wide angle, super wide lenses that go along with it. I used the GH5 and GH5S before I got and switched over to the Panasonic S1 and S1R, and I've been super happy so far. Better low light performance. It's got that specific full frame look. It looks really great. The GH5, GH5S, you had to go with lenses like the Voigtlander Nocten 0.95 to really get that shallow depth of field with it. And it's a lot easier to achieve that with a full frame body and full frame glass like the Sigma Art series glass. So thanks for watching again. If you like this video, remember to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment in the comment section below with any questions. And when you subscribe, there's a little bell notification. Just ring that and that'll let you know whenever I post new videos. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.